Welcome to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. My name's Sam Leamy. I'm here with Michael McLaughlin and Connor Walsh. What's going on, lads?
What up? How
you doing, Mike?
How are you?
How's Brooklyn?
Awesome.
Oh, dude, you live in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I live in Brooklyn.
You look like you just woke up there, buddy.
Well, that's what we look like in Brooklyn. We don't care, dude.
Really?
I don't know. I have a beard now.
Mike, I have a question for you, bro. Not related to Brooklyn. Has anyone ever texted you, yo, I'm about to be murdered?
No, I don't think so. No, why?
Wackadoo Jr. over here to my right, Sam Leamy, texted me at like 12:30 last night saying, yo, I'm about to be murdered. How should I respond to that, dude? How should I respond to that as a friend? As a friend.
This is the story, Mike.
I would be like Sam drama.
No, let me
That's
tell
what
you.
I said,
let me
dude.
tell you the story first. So I'm in bed with my girlfriend on Saturday
Sam's
night.
got a girlfriend, everybody.
Yeah, okay, exposed.
They go to bed together.
So I'm in bed, and she's talking about killing me on Saturday. So I'm just like, whatever.
His girlfriend, by the way, side note to the audience, Sam's girlfriend loves CrossFit, and she probably could kill.
Yeah, she is 5 foot something. But
she will clean
she's
the
gonna
shit.
hate me. She's a big fan of the podcast. But we're in, and it was Sunday night last night. My kid, Jack's downstairs, and I was like, "Were you serious last night about taking my life?" And she was like, "Dead serious." I'm like, "What?" The door's open. And I just put the air condition on, so the house is kind of making creaking sounds. And I'm asking questions, and I'm like, how do you do this? Why are you doing this? Why have you gained a relationship with her? She's like, I have an accomplice that comes in, and we just take them down, and we dispose of them with lime juice, and we bury them next to a tree so the roots... And I'm just... The more information she's saying, I'm getting more scared. And then there was a massive creak downstairs.
And then at the same time, you're like getting an erection.
Yeah. I love crazy girls. But I just had a moment, so I just went, I just need to text someone. And Connor was the first person I thought of.
I don't know if I should be honored or disturbed, but regardless, he texted me, and as a friend, it was a situation I've never been in before where I was like, he's full of it, which is 75% chance reality, or 25%, he's about to get murdered, so do I call the police? So I called up Uncle Sam. He's
okay,
like,
Sam, I've been a fool of a friend for Sam with these things. Sam has made me one time in a soccer game. Sam fell down, played it like as if the guy had like stomped you. I
do have a reputation of diving, as a lot of my English friends
and
would
you
know.
start doing the worm like the guy was like literally kicking you.
No, I wasn't that
but
bad.
he wasn't. And I lost my cool. I ran over the guy, and I was about to fight the guy. I took my shirt off, like the whole thing, which is embarrassing.
That was
the center back. The other team was like, "Yo, bro, stop." He's like, "Look at yourself. Your shirt is off." I was like, "Ah, that's a good point." And then I look up, and Sam's like winking at me, like, "It's all right, mate. We got the free kick."
Need that free kick. But no, my girlfriend's a sweetheart. She's great.
and a murderer,
Yeah,
potentially.
So this could be our last podcast together. But we do have a great show for all you guys out there. Arsenal performance yesterday under Wenger, 3 games in. I mean, it could be the worst performance ever from an Arsenal Wenger side.
We'll talk.
That's coming up shortly. We have David Villa's call up to the Spain squad. Surprise call up. The first time he's been called up since he's joined the MLS and New York City FC. We have the MLS roundup from the weekend. Huge games this weekend. Pulisic watch for Borussia Dortmund this weekend against Hertha Berlin. Upcoming squad, the USA games, international break. And of course, the fantasy review from the weekend. But first, Connor and I went to some local sports this evening. We attended the University of Albany home opener against Rhode Island today. A former guest on the... I don't know what that was. What is that?
It's French Montana. Yo, millennials, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
So our good friend and former guest on the show, Chris Custer, has left the program. He's down in Philadelphia. He took another job. The club seems to be... Do we call them a club or do we call them a program?
It's a program.
It's a program.
University.
Yeah. But listen, yo, so not to toot me and Samuel's horns, but we were the ones that made the elusive trip down to Clemson University last year in the Sweet 16. I would think both of us, and, Chris being a member of the program and one of our close friends, definitely raised our interest. But I can speak for myself. I definitely... I just like the program a lot. I like the players a lot. I've had a few interactions with them. Actually, I've had more than a few interactions with them. And what's up?
All right, what I was going to say is, I don't really, I'm not up there anymore. I'm not around it. So I don't really, I'm not really into it like you guys are. But it was one thing you guys said before we got on air. You said that it was over 3,000 people at the game.
Yeah, I mean,
for a low Division I soccer game, that seems like a lot.
Dude,
of people.
It was an impressive. Actually, it really was an impressive crowd tonight.
It was great, and compared to last season, where they were up and coming, and they were favourites for the American East, and no one expected them to go that far in the NCAA tournament. But the home opener last season was half the size. Today, the stand above the second tier was opened up. And it was packed. I mean, first home game of the season. They went down to Marist on Friday, 3-2 after going 2-0 up. But a very impressive crowd. And took my kid there. Girlfriend came. Some friends.
Do you think this is kind of like that, like the same thing? Like when I was surprised, like when Atlanta FC opened MLS, they're averaging like 50,000 a game. Well, Orlando is this millennial world? Is this actually?
Well, no one's going to be there next week.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. No. It'll probably be They were doing a free T-shirt night. I'm sure a bunch of college freshmen had. Honestly, let's be realistic. Yeah. No one else had a lot of freshmen. Like you tell, there's a lot of freshmen there. Honestly, Monday night, but I think a part of it is definitely people are recognizing. I mean, we were at a bar beforehand briefly, and I was talking to the bartender, and he was, "Oh yeah, you guys going to the soccer game? They were great last year." He's some 60-year-old man, actually probably the oldest bartender I've ever seen in my life. Extremely out of shape, but shout out to him for wobbling around behind the bar.
Probably a better bartender than you, mate.
I'm nice, dude. But no, dude, I think people caught on last year and realized this is a special team and the program is heading in the right direction. So it was good to be back in that after not being there since November we were there last.
Yeah, last game we saw was down in Clemson, and before the season kicked off this year, they were ranked 19 nationally. In the whole of Division I, which is a great achievement based on last season. So going into the game today, Rhode Island at home.
This just sounds like us trying to get like UAlbany to give us money for our podcast.
We'll take it. We'll take any dollar we can get. Hey,
like UAlbany, this University of Albany, guys. It's upstate New York.
This episode is sponsored by this 12-pack of Corona I bought at the local bodega tonight. Shout out to those guys at the SUNY bodega.
So breaking down the game. 4-0
Are you really going to break down the UAlbany game?
Why not? Yeah, real quick.
Jesus Christ.
Just real quick. We're 8 minutes
All right.
Come on.
All right, let's go.
All right. 4-0 win. Scrappy game. Carlos Clark, number 14, in midfield. He is a junior. He had an absolute masterclass today. He controlled the game from start to finish. Opened the scoring 1-0 at halftime. Owen Finger from Scotia, local guy, came on towards the end of the first half. As a freshman, looked very active, looked like he wanted to impress the coach, Trevor Gorman. I think he did a good job, and for all his efforts, got the second goal off a goalkeeping error. Carlos Clark got a third goal. You're like in shock right now, Mike.
I'm just watching. Can you believe
it? Carlos Clark break
audition tape to be the SUNY Albany play-by-play announcers. Go on, continue.
Well, the bar sponsors the program.
Hey. Oh, does it? Oh, my bad. The bar that's still not
good friend Jeff Medina was very solid at the back. He has applied to work at the bar, and his contract is under consideration right now. He had an absolute. He was solid at the back. Rhode Island looked very, very disorganized. English coach, so no surprise there. But Trevor Gorman had the troops going. Fonzie getting the goal towards the end.
Yeah,
nice little
one thing about Alfonso, number 11, the Brazilian striker, now a senior this year. And I know we were talking about a program that probably 10% of our listeners can even have an opportunity to go watch, but Alfonso, keep your eye on him with this season and going to the MLS draft, because Our sources tell us, and these are not. Are we breaking a story right now? We're not breaking a story. I'm not going to say anything, but there are
just say two MLS clubs are interested.
Two legitimate MLS clubs that are legitimately interested in him, and based off of last year, it looked like that might be the possibility. Just being one of probably, I mean, I didn't see a better striker that I watched last year, and
he led the scoring in the American East last season. If he has another good season this year, he is a senior.
Yep,
correct, this year. So he needs a strong season this year. Good finish.
Yeah, just keep an eye out for Alfonso from U Albany for any of our listeners around the country.
But Owen Finger from Scotia, local lad, good to see him get a lot of minutes today. I thought he was very impressive. But it was a scrappy game, early season, so there's a few rusty touches there within the team, but I'm sure they'll gel, and Trevor and Nate.
Well, that was the thing about last year was the beginning. The team at the beginning of the season compared to the end of the season was two different squads. And
plus, they're playing on an American football field, and there's like colors everywhere. There's lines everywhere. It's just weird.
There's nothing. Even when you go to like watch an old MLS highlight, even if it's great, seeing all the hash marks and it is kind of like
I don't know. I don't mind it.
You like it?
In terms of college soccer, no, honestly, in terms of college soccer, it is what it is, and they actually play in a really nice field and a really nice stadium for the Division I football stadium that was over half full tonight for a soccer game, and it was a pretty impressive crowd. So I'm not going to complain about the field. But
okay, well played, Albany today for getting the win.
We love
you. Now we are going to go back to yesterday's game. Yesterday was a very dark day, should we say, for Arsene Wenger and Arsenal Football Club.
And Connor Walsh.
But 4-0, they lost to Liverpool at Anfield. Where the hell do we begin with this game?
Well, listen, I'm going to begin... There's no really place to begin because I've been saying this since this podcast started, and anyone that's now hopping on board, you're obviously a clueless soccer fan.
Well, let me just say what a few of the pundits said on Sky Sports. Gary Neville said at halftime, sell all the Arsenal players, put them on the transfer list at halftime. Carragher called them cowards. Thierry Henry didn't even want to be there.
Can I address each point? Mr. Neville, you're a friend of the program in my eyes. I love you. Sell half the Arsenal players. I believe I've said this in the past. The club needs to clear house. No one listens to me, but when Gary Neville talks, it's obviously important. Embarrassing. I have a friggin' podcast. Jamie Carragher, cowards. Spot on. I'm not gonna argue with you. Thierry Henry didn't want to be there. Well, Thierry, you're honestly a shit pundit, and no one wants you there either, so you're irrelevant. But honestly, listen, I've been saying this for a while.
Really, you calling Thierry Henry a shit pundit?
What?
He's Bobbins, bro. He's titty.
Right, okay.
No, he is pretty bad. He really is bad. He just says. Really,
I think Thierry Henry is like the epitome of like cool.
He is. He's my.
Cool
probably
Did you
my
ever see that breakdown that he did with Barcelona? And he was like the way Pep plays and way players didn't have to move in the Barcelona team, just let the ball do the work. And with those talented players they have at Barcelona, I thought that breakdown was great. If you want to YouTube that. But anyway, carry on.
All right, listen, no, honestly, I've been saying this since this podcast started. I've been saying it on my own with my friends. I think Sam can attest to this, that the club needs a serious change. And with Arsene Wenger signing a 2-year contract, that change isn't going to happen. And we're 3 games in, and this is a team that is clearly given up on the manager and on the season and on the club. We saw this 2 years ago with Chelsea when the players were sick of Mourinho, and they gave up before the season even started because they wanted Mourinho out. They got him out, and then they go on to win the league the next year with more or less the same core of players. This is a group of Arsenal players that are extremely uninspired. They don't play for the manager. And one thing I'll say about any football club is that what happens in the field reflects what's going on with the overall club. What's going on with the front office, what's going on top to bottom from the under 8s to the
you hear that,
honestly,
7-year-olds?
bro, it's the entire club. And what's happening right now with the Arsenal senior team shows what's going on with the whole club. Our record signing.
Well, who's to blame here? Are we blaming the players or
no? The players aren't to blame. It's 100% Arsene Wenger. Our record signing Alexander Lacazette is on the bench while Danny Welbeck starts. Okay, point one. Explain that.
Well, point one. Yo, I watched the game, and I couldn't understand why Lacazette didn't start.
I mean, it's a record transfer fee for a player. Why the hell is he on the bench? These are the board. The board. Wenger's gone to the board in the summer and was like, I want this player. I think he will take Arsenal further. Arsenal will go, here's the money, Arsene.
But...
Three games
they were linked to him 3 years ago when he was 3 years younger and a third of his current price. And that is Arsenal's business model. They wait till it's too late.
But no, he puts Lacazette on the bench for an away day at Liverpool. These are the games that he was signed for.
Yes.
And I don't care if he needs Premier League, he needs to be molded into a Premier League player. He needs Premier League games to be a Premier League player.
It's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. Just to continue on with the player selection, I've criticized Wenger for this time and time again, but the best left back in the Bundesliga, who Arsenal signed for free, is on the bench, another player on the bench. We have a right-sided player in Bellerin, who's played on the right side his entire Arsenal career, is now a left-sided player, apparently, to accommodate a center midfielder, apparently, in Oxlade-Chamberlain on the right side. It is absolutely mind-boggling from Wenger. Kolasinac can also play center back, which he has played.
Mustafi, why isn't Mustafi playing at centre back with...
That's a great question, Sam. It's a great...
You have Holding and Monreal. You are not going to win the league. You're not even going to come in the top four with Monreal of centre back.
Can I say one thing about Holding? He's a young player who has shone very brightly, and one thing that Arsenal apparently models themselves after, and one thing that they strive to be, is a club that will give young players the chance. But look what Wenger has done to Rob Holding. This season alone, they go on and beat Leicester 4-3, a game that the defense was shaky. Holding wasn't great. The next game, he doesn't even make the 18 away at Stoke. Doesn't even make the squad. He gets dropped because he didn't play great. Then the next game, he comes and plays at Anfield away. You know what I mean? It's like, what? How can a player develop any minute confidence when that is the situation? And Arsene Wenger is straight up sabotaging the club. I've said this for 2 years, and I am done with any Arsenal fan that is like, Wenger. Like, you didn't even watch 2004. You didn't even watch the Invincibles. We didn't even get that coverage here in America. So what are you holding on to, Arsenal fans? Stuff you read about on the internet? Look at what's happening right now.
No, but I watched that YouTube clip. It was cool.
Oh, sick, dude. No, honestly, that is the problem. Is that people watch the past and they're not looking at the current. There is not one reason to defend Arsene Wenger.
So breaking down the starting lineup, we've already done the defense.
I'm going to another Corona.
All right. I mean, you'll be able to hear me from the kitchen, but the midfielders in Aaron Ramsey
kitchen in the studio?
And Xhaka. You're playing Aaron Ramsey, who has no intention of being a defensive midfielder. He's never bothered to track back in his whole career. For Wales, where's his best position? He's a number 10. He wants to be in the attacking box. That's where he wants to be. And some of the goals Arsenal conceded, I know you're going to blame Wenger over and over again for his team selection, but you have to lay some blame on the players. They were individual mistakes.
Let's talk about Ramsey right now. Let's talk about Ramsey right now.
I want to talk about one goal. I want to talk about I think it was the third goal, the Salah goal. First two goals, they went in. Arsenal didn't have a shot on goal. Not one on goal.
We're not a competitive team. We're not a competitive team.
The third goal, when Bellerin loses the ball 25 yards into the Liverpool half, loses it. Salah nicks it off him and goes and breaks free. There's not one club in any league in the world going down to modified soccer at Waterford. Would you ever defend like that? The last defensive player is 25 yards inside the Liverpool box. It's crazy. And with Salah's pace, he's going to put that away all day long.
Let me say one thing, and this is about Ramsey.
Ramsey wasn't even looking at the ball. He was looking at the bench.
Let me say one thing about Ramsey that reflects the team as a whole, is that Ramsey ran around like a chicken with his head cut off. He has no responsibility. He has no awareness of positioning. And the problem is that what did Arsene Wenger say to him to say, hey, Play your position. What did Laurent Koscielny, the captain, say to him? Didn't open his mouth. This is Ramsey being a retard, which he's been his whole career, and that's a whole nother story. Is one thing, but where is the leadership? Where is the one player stepping up? And your captain Koscielny, who I love and who has done a great job being the captain of Arsenal, he didn't open his mouth, and Wenger didn't open his mouth, and let Ramsey run around and be an absolute detriment to the team, which he has been his entire career at Arsenal. Nothing but a detriment, except for 1 year where he scored 13 goals. Move on, Arsenal fans. It's not happening again. Move on from the past, Arsenal fans.
Okay, I mean, obviously, a huge mistake by Wenger and the players on Sunday. I'm going to give credit to Liverpool and Liverpool players for breaking Arsenal down. I don't think it was that hard to beat Arsenal 4-0 that day. I think Arsenal were terrible. I'm going to ask you, Connor, is this the worst Arsenal performance under Arsene Wenger? And take into account, I think it was 6 years to the day that they lost that game at Old Trafford 8-2.
I don't know. That 8-2 game was pretty bad, but there were actual moments of heart and chances on goal, at least. I mean, they scored 2 goals. I can think of at least 2. Van Persie missed a chance, or Chauvin missed a chance in that game.
And I mean, Rooney scored a couple of free kicks and a penalty, I think.
And Ashley Young scored a golazo too. So that was a great performance from United. I won't put that all on. It was a terrible, terrible Arsenal team. It was literally a championship.
But you know what I remember about?
Sorry, Mike. One thing. No. You go back 6 years, and Arsenal have always had this reputation of being, well, they have the players, and on their day, they're going to attack teams and play the most exciting attack in football that any club in the division. But you look at those players now, and they really don't. They don't look like an exciting team.
And listen, they don't go out and sign the players.
Lacazette does.
He's on the bench.
He didn't start. Right now, Arsenal are heavily rumored to sell Oxlade-Chamberlain for $35 million. It looks like to Chelsea. He could be sold by the time this podcast comes out. That's how close it's going to happen.
I thought they've agreed a fee today.
It looks like it. If they sell him for $35 million, they've turned a $19 million net profit in the transfer market. There isn't one other club in the world turning a profit in the transfer market. Unfortunately, that's not how the modern game works. And once again, Arsene Wenger has fallen so far behind the time. I don't even want to talk about it, honestly. I just don't care.
Was this the last time we've seen Alexis Sanchez in an Arsenal jersey?
Hopefully for his sake. He's a good player that tries. He's the only professional at the club that has any leadership abilities, that he goes into every game, whether against Burnley or Liverpool or Chelsea or whoever else, and gives 110%. And he deserves better. And honestly, we should sell him before the window closes, because we're not going to do anything with him, and we should make that 60, 70, 50 million pounds before he gets sold for free next summer, because he's going to leave next summer. Cash in now. We're a club that's supposed to be smart financially. Sell him now and make your money, because he doesn't want to play there, and he deserves to play at a better club, because yesterday's game was so pathetic and pitiful, and not one shot on goal. Yeah. Not one shot on goal. And your record signing striker is on the bench, while Danny Welbeck, who we signed for £19 million, is starting. It defies any logic. That's the situation with Wenger right now. It defies any explanation.
Roy Hodgson hasn't got a job right now.
I'll take him, bro. At least we won't give up 4 goals away to Liverpool.
Yeah, I know. Arsenal, they sucked and everything, but Liverpool, just one more. On that Mane goal. Remember Mane's goal where he kind of went to the left and then went to the right and stuck it in the right corner? Yeah, that was pretty quick.
That was like a Jordan Morris, Mike McLaughlin combo there.
It was just so quick. It was just like precision, just for that move. It was just like perfect. Like it was just you can't.
Well,
I
don't want to take. I know we don't talk.
That's what I'm saying. Don't take too much away from Liverpool.
Yeah, we don't talk about Liverpool a lot on this podcast. None of us are Liverpool fans, and I'm going to give them credit. The way they've counterattacked, they look like a counter-attacking team, even though Arsenal weren't that hard to break down yesterday. I'm starting to wonder whether Coutinho can fit in this team, because you have Coutinho in midfield doing all those dribbles and trying to break down teams. The way they're set up right now with Firmino and Mane and Salah all coming at you, and Wijnaldum, like Emre Can can be your defensive midfielder, and those guys coming at you and making the ball do the work. They look great coming forward in a counter-attacking style. And I believe Coutinho is going to come back. He's going to look at this Liverpool team and go, yeah, I want a bit of this. If Liverpool started off bad and now Dembele's gone to Barcelona, Coutinho's going to go, yeah, I want a bit of this, but he might disrupt that team with the way he plays. The only thing I would say about Coutinho is a little bit of magic that he might be able to break down teams like Bournemouth or Stoke away to do a little bit of skill, and make something happen in the last 5-10 minutes. But where do you see Coutinho fitting in this Liverpool team if he comes back?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the argument today on social media and in whatever articles I've read and stuff that maybe Liverpool will be okay without Coutinho, and the same conversation is going on right now with Monaco and Mbappe after they beat Marseille this weekend. Was it 6-1?
Yep.
6-0, whatever. They killed Marseille, and will these clubs be okay without these players? And I don't know. I don't think this Liverpool squad is that strong. Mm-hmm. I think that Arsenal was that bad. And any Liverpool fan that is, I think any Liverpool fan that is going crazy right now is losing the plot, because that was clearly a very disheveled and uninterested and just embarrassing Arsenal performance. And Joe Gomez starting in the back and whatever. It's just not, Liverpool isn't that strong of a team, I don't think. And I think they can use Coutinho, but however, they absolutely destroyed Arsenal tomorrow.
Last point before we move on. I know you're worried about this Arsenal team.
I'm not worried. I knew this was going to happen.
There's a worry. You have 3 points out of a total of 9.
What am I worried about?
Relegation.
All right, that's ridiculous. We're not going to finish top 4.
Okay.
We're not strong enough to finish top 4. We didn't do anything to improve from last year.
Yeah, right.
I'm not worried. I'm just indifferent right now.
The players look like they've given up. The manager, he was picking grass towards the end of the the game there. Okay, anyway. Manchester United, only team with 9 points, 2-0 winners over Leicester City. Lukaku missing a penalty.
It's my team.
Manchester City getting a last-minute winner against Bournemouth. Probably one of the goals of the season by Charlie Daniels there. Lovely goal with his left foot outside of the foot. Sterling and Jesus getting goals. Raheem Sterling getting sent off for celebrating with the crowd. The crowd came on the pitch. Sterling ran over.
What'd you guys think about that? Did you see that, Mike?
No, I didn't see it.
Raheem Sterling scored with a lovely strike at the end there. It took about one deflection, but he scuffed a shot, deflected in. Crowd go nuts, jump on the field. Sterling runs over, celebrates with the crowd on the field, gets a second yellow card, and gets sent off, which was unfair.
How can you not celebrate? What, do you got to push them away? And
the stewards didn't do their job, and there's.
Dude, it happens all the time. Fans end up on the field all the time celebrating goals.
But
the player shouldn't be punished. What, he's supposed to just punch the guy? Well,
he ran out. It's like, what's the point of the fans being there? It's like ban the fans. The fans, give all the fans a yellow card. But apparently Sergio Aguero got an altercation with a steward, and the stewards filed a formal complaint. I was a steward once at Southampton. You're getting paid minimum wage. You're just happy to be there. You're watching the game. They're not watching the fans. So I would blame the police if they should have. I don't know. If they should be aware that if Man City were going to score a last-minute goal, something like that could happen. But that's to be determined. So we'll see the outcome of that. A couple of boring games. Huddersfield, I'm still undefeated at 0-0 at home to Southampton.
Waggers.
David Waggers. Newcastle getting off the block, 3-0 winners over West Ham. West Ham are in trouble. And Crystal Palace also in deep trouble. Frank de Boer out, the fans are saying. Barcelona, 2 goals from Lionel Messi. They have just signed Merson Dembele. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, David Villa, call up to the Spain squad. I know a lot of Europeans do not watch the MLS, but he has put goals in from everywhere for New York City FC, at home, on the road, for these World Cup qualifiers. First time he's been called up since 2015. A little bit of a surprise.
Absolutely. I mean, this was a player that I mean, I guess you and me have watched our fair share of NYCFC games this year, and I think that both of us, and Mike, I'm sure you've watched some games too.
Yeah.
He is by far the best player in Major League Soccer, and it's not even close. He's on a different level. But does that mean he should be called up for Spain? Maybe not. But he's put the work in. His form is exceptional, has been for 3 years. And Spain is always David Villa was the only true striker they've had for a long time.
Torres.
Well, Nando, but he sucks. Then they lost him, and they're playing this false nine system, and it didn't work for a few years. And can he do the job for them? I mean, enough so where.
Well, they need a goal scorer. Spain need a goal scorer. I don't know what the reports are coming out of Spain, but one of the reasons why he's been called up is this whole Diego Costa nonsense in Chelsea. He's not playing for Chelsea. He would normally be called up as a number 9. Yet now they've gone to Villa, who has retired. He's come out of retirement for these World Cup qualifiers, and he's obviously going to look to play in the World Cup next year. Why not? If you're getting called up for the qualifiers.
Yeah, and I don't think Spain would mess around because he got called up for Luxembourg and Italy, and Italy's never an easy game. It's one of the top sides in Europe, and this isn't a publicity stunt. If they feel like he can help them win, they're gonna call him up if he can help them win. And
so we're gonna watch and then root, right, for him to do well, so that it makes the MLS look
it's
good.
America, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He's American. David Villa is the first American to play for Spain.
35 years old. 35 years old. I still got a shot for the
What if he
national
puts
team.
a hat? Who are they playing this week? Who are their 2 games?
They have Luxembourg and Italy.
Oh, dude, if he puts a brace against Italy, come on.
Yeah, it's game over. I'm
That's got to
excited.
be part of the MLS roundup.
I mean, we see David Villa on the TV and live at the stadium. He looks in shape. He looks sharp. He scores great goals still. When he came over,
Tried another one from the halfway line this weekend.
I did see that. When he came over, everyone was very surprised that he'd already committed to the MLS. But that was him and Kaká coming over at the same time. It was, 2 great players that can still give something. It hasn't worked out too well for Kaká in the last couple of years, but David Villa has definitely justified his move to the MLS. And I don't think it's a surprise, really. I'm not too sure if the Spanish public will be that impressed with this call.
No, it's a surprise, man, because bottom line, he's a 35-year-old playing in a retirement league. By not our standards, not our view.
Whoa, buddy.
No, that's the view of everyone else in the world, and I'm sure some Spain fans are happy, but I think it's definitely a surprise to the overall Spanish population.
Well, what if he gets if he plays and he does well? Does that bode well for maybe Giovinco getting a call up?
No,
different country, different rules.
Different. It's just different, dude. Everything's different over there. But
maybe the pool of players in Spain isn't that great as it used to be. They are coming on I'm not going to say a downward spiral, but they're coming off that high from winning World Cups and Euro Championships, and they're not reaching those heights. They had a disastrous World Cup in 2014, and that's only 3 years ago. It wasn't a very good Euros either.
Well, I think it might be their best interest that Diego Costa is having this situation at Chelsea because he just simply does not fit into that system and that mold in Spain. And
Brazilian, anyway.
Yeah, he's a Brazilian, and I hate foreigners that play for other countries. Shout out America.
Don't lie. But we're gonna
real quick. Just shout out
Tim Howard.
No, not shout out Tim Howard. What's his face over at? Anyway, no, it was a dude that plays for. Forget it. The guy that plays for Montreal that plays for Belgium has got called up as well. Again, he's been called up for like the last however many call-ups. But
well, we're going to go into the England and USA call-ups later in the program. But talking about David Villa and the MLS, it is everyone's favorite part of the podcast. It's the MLS week. I don't know what that is.
Roundup.
Do the
with Connor Walsh. Oh,
yeah.
We got to get that theme song.
Right. Okay. Work on that.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay. It's week 25 with Connor Walsh. MLS Roundup.
Start off with the worst game of the entire weekend was the New York Derby. Did you guys watch the Derby?
We should have like music in the background while you do it.
Yeah, the whole time it's like Connor Walsh, MLS Roundup, Connor Walsh. Oh, baby. Oh, his dick is big.
All right, week 25.
Yeah, but no, terrible, absolutely terrible game Friday night on ESPN. The Hudson River Derby, by far the worst of the.
A lot of fans at the bar, a lot, and there was Red Bull fans to the right and New York City FC fans to the left.
When I left at like 6, there was some
lot.
filtering in. But that's cool that it ended up getting busy for that. But yeah, one of the worst games I've ever watched in my entire life. The MLS regressed at least a decade in time. It was a pretty poor standard of play. And that was the last time I ever buy a 6-pack of Corona to watch New York City FC, because that's clearly not what works. But a 12-pack of Corona works for... 12-pack works for the podcast. A lot of non-VAR moments, honestly. There was a moment in the second half where Bati Boy Jr. pushed whatever from Red Bull into the goal.
They should have had 3 penalty kicks, New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, no, the one that wasn't VAR'd. And the one thing about VAR right now is that these calls that aren't made.
VAR, dude.
Every time they shoot to the VAR room, it does look like guys are just like playing on their phones. Like, I think they're playing like a PS. They're playing PlayStation. It doesn't look like anything important's going on in the VAR room.
It's my thing, right? I mean, just from this game alone, is that if VAR is going to be implemented but then not used after when it's in place, it makes the refs look worse, because now they have this option to go to the video review and they're choosing not to, but then it's still a clear penalty on the field when they're not reviewing it. That gray area, that area needs to be worked out, because if we have VAR, everything that should be a penalty should be a penalty. Everything that's not shouldn't be a penalty. In my eyes, obviously that's easier said than done.
It's gonna slow the game down like so crazy though, right?
A penalty's a big deal. That's almost a goal. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, there was a penalty against I can't think of his name. Who's the striker for
Bradley Ray
New York
Phillips?
Bradley Ray Phillips.
Verón, Juan Sebastian Verón converted that. Maxi Morales got the only real chance for New York City FC. Came on a pretty nice counterattack. David Villa, nice assist. Maxi Morales scored.
So he got called up before this game.
Yes, he was called up before. Yeah. But in general, it was a very boring, lot of uninspiring play from both teams.
The last Hudson River Derby of the season.
It is.
Maybe in the playoffs. But.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty cool. We've seen a few Toronto versus Montreal derbies the last 2 years in the playoffs. This would be a pretty cool series to have in the playoffs. But moving on, Minnesota wins their first away game of the season.
Yay.
Away in Chicago.
First away win of the season.
Yes, which continues Chicago's 4-game losing streak. Yeah,
they're struggling right now.
They are struggling. And
any real reason for this?
I mean, it's tough to say. Maybe the magic has worn out.
Too windy.
Maybe it is too windy. some pundits or whatever, they're getting concerned if Chicago can still be in the playoffs. And personally, I think yes. I mean, Nikolic, they got to get Nikolic scoring goals again. He hasn't scored in a minute. Was the leading scorer the first half of the season. David Accam is still in great form. You still have Bastian Schweinsteiger, who has done excellent for them. I think they'll be okay. Teams lose 4 games in a row, especially in a league like MLS where there is so much parity that it's not the most outrageous thing. But Abu Dinladi, first overall draft pick for Minnesota, number 1 pick in the draft from UCLA, gets a brace, which was, I guess, cool for the rookie.
Wow.
David Accam rescues a goal. I think it was like the 70-something minute. But, yeah, it was a big, big win. And a team that was the best team in the East against the worst team in MLS. That's a pretty cool result for the Minnesota fans, especially those that traveled to Chicago. Moving on to Sunday, Toronto 3-1 over Montreal in Montreal.
Dominated.
Yeah, Sebastian Giovinco brace, free kick in a volley goal. Piatti scored to make it 2-1.
He's on fire right now, Giovinco, right?
Well, so is Piatti for that matter. But yeah, Giovinco is absolutely killing it. Scored a nice free kick in the first half. Piatti goes down and scores. Josie scored in between all this, but Piatti goes down and scores right before stoppage time. Literally, the goal was very, very similar to the Tim Cahill goal in the World Cup, that volley he had.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same level of difficulty and the same standard of goal, but didn't Netherlands score like directly before that. Yeah, there was the same exact scenario. Montreal made it 2-1. Giovinco scored. The camera wasn't even on him when he shot. That's how like they were still catching up to him scoring. It was crazy, but this might be my favorite derby in MLS just because the fans are so good in this game, and I've enjoyed watching this game over the last few years. But Toronto continues their form. It doesn't look like they're gonna have any trouble winning the Supporters Shield, and continues their form as the best team in MLS by a long shot. On to this was still Saturday. I
got a question about Toronto.
Yes,
that's all right. Toronto. Okay, Sam. They're by far right now the best team in MLS. They were the best team last year, even though they lost to Seattle.
Yes.
You put Toronto in the championship, England. Do they finish top 5?
Yeah. Well, top 6 is the end of the playoffs. Top 2 go up automatically. Yeah. And then 4 in the playoffs. Yeah, I think they'll be top 6. Yeah. It's just the squad size, Mike. With the championship, you're playing 46 games in the regular season. Then you have the cup competitions. If you make a cup run, the core of Toronto is very good. Giovinco can play these games with ease, 90 minutes once a week. Maybe there's a game midweek, but not that often.
That's a good
Bradley's
point.
playing every single game. Altidor's playing every game. Then they're not getting injured. The physicality of the championship in the Premier League is way higher than the MLS. That's the only fallback for these MLS teams when you want to compare them to the championship. The squad size and the squad quality isn't as good as it can be.
Yeah.
But if they did have those kind of players, then maybe if they had somewhat not comparable replacements, but.
However, this Toronto team is probably the strongest MLS team ever.
I would say so. Yeah,
this is the best team that MLS has ever seen, and
the LA team was pretty good.
No,
the Donovan Beckham one with Keane up top.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I think overall squad though, just top to bottom.
I think this one's better though.
I mean, Victor Vasquez.
Wasn't Omar Gonzalez at the back? He was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, right now Victor Vasquez, center midfielder, is leading the league in assists.
Who was the striker? Who was the Galaxy striker back then? And he had the great tweet about Donovan, about
Was it Alan Gordon?
Son. No, not Alan Gordon. No, oh shit, it was a hilarious tweet
about Klinsmann's son.
Yeah. When Donovan became the all-time leading scorer for MLS, he was like, Donovan, ha ha ha, all-time leading scorer. Like he mimicked the same tweet.
Oh,
it was hilarious. Yeah.
Okay, hilarious.
Yeah, good story, Mike. Anyway, back to MLS Roundup with Connor Walsh.
Breck Shea did score though for Vancouver. We're not going to talk about it, but
just don't care. Moving on to the Cali Classico. San Jose. This might be the most boring derby in the league, honestly. LA and San Jose. I mean, it's historically been there, and as far as the league goes, for a while. I think it may have even predated the league. I think San Jose predated the league, but Wando scored the third goal in the 92nd minute.
All these games staggered on major networks as well, starting with Montreal, Toronto, ESPN, Galaxy, Earthquakes on Fox Sports, and then Seattle. But Wando scoring again, carrying the team.
But Galaxy are still stuck at the bottom, just close to the bottom of.
I think No. Carry on.
Well, that's the different comments. Regardless, last game we're gonna highlight was Seattle and Portland 1-1. Christian Roldan scored the scrappiest goal of 2017, but still good to see a U.S. national team player get on the score sheet. Diego Valeri PK in the 70-something minute to round up the derby in the West Coast. But
there you go.
That's it.
Nice.
Week 25, Toronto, looking good.
Can we take a pause for 1 second?
We'll take that really long break like we did last week. But yes, we'll be right back, listeners. Okay, thanks. Welcome back to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. We all have our beers in hand. What's your favorite beer, by the way, Mike? What?
Beer? Well, I've stopped drinking.
Yeah.
But while I've stopped drinking, beer
Did you get
really
hammered in that Mayweather-McGregor fight?
Yeah, I drink 1 day a week now. Right. But no, I'd like my favorite beer. I don't know. Optimator.
Is it a full moon?
Optimator. You know that person's going to order an Optimator even before he opens his mouth. But yeah, welcome back, everyone. We are all refreshed and ready to go. And it's everyone's second favorite section. It is the Christian Pulisic watch. What happened with him this weekend?
All right, Pulisic, Dortmund.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. America. Dortmund played Hertha Berlin. Pulisic honestly didn't put much stats up. No goals, no assists. But I would say
isn't that the only stats?
Those are, yeah. But okay, hold on. But I
watched a rich man's Neymar from this weekend. Same thing.
He was the most dominant player on the pitch. I thought he had so many chances. He had like 4 or 5 shots on goal.
He did miss a sitter, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Well, no, I mean, kind of. Yeah, he should have put one away, but he tried to do something like tricky with it, but it didn't turn out.
It was kind of behind him, I thought, and yeah, it went. Yeah, I did see that. There was a bigger game at the bar, which was the Arsenal-Liverpool game.
Big game.
But here's huge clubs. Watching the game now, it's funny because the year ago we were watching it, we're hoping he's playing. Like, wow, I can't believe he's playing. Oh, they passed on the ball. Oh, okay, yeah, he's doing okay. Now it's. I think he might be the focal point of the attack.
Well, now we talked about the last podcast. We talked about the situation with Dembele. Now he's gone to Barcelona. That has been confirmed. 138 million. I just want to talk about his introduction again. We talked about Paulinho's 4 keepy uppies. Dembele in front of the fans. Dembele's introduction to the fans yesterday was just as bad, Mike. Just as bad.
I saw it.
Did you see it?
I saw him. They brought him out of the. I saw they brought him out of the like a doorway, and he looked so uncomfortable. Like he didn't look like.
Well, you have all those fans there, and that's an exciting.
And he's 19, right?
That's an exciting transfer for Barcelona. So there was significant people there. Do you think he's just shitting his pants? Think he's just a human being just shitting his pants?
That's the hardest time to ever juggle. Is that moment?
I don't think the juggling was that bad. I feel like that rainbow flick was the worst part.
That was the icing on the cake versus a rainbow attempt. If you guys haven't seen this, watch Paulinho and be like, wow, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And then watch this and you're like, wow, that was actually the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my whole life. He gets 3 touches, tries the rainbow, and hits him like in his thigh. And he just gives up on his. Yeah, it's sad.
That's when you just kick it into the fans and just kick it up in the air.
Well,
but
now he's gone, and Pulisic has started the past 2 games for Borussia Dortmund, and you're saying he's the focal point for this team
of the attack. I mean, because even though Dortmund will dominate possession, they'll still some of their best chances come on the counter, and he is by far their number one. It's him and Aubameyang on the counter. That's pretty much what it is. And those two basically are kind of like play both. It's almost like they're both playing forward because they get Pulisic now. He doesn't just stay on the right. He comes in, he goes all the way to the left sometimes. So I think it's pretty cool. He's looking like the. We'll see what happens when Royce comes back, but
I think.
Where's the other guy? Where's the other young guy?
Emery Moore.
He didn't play.
He's not playing. They're playing Philippe.
Was he injured? Emery Moore. He must be. He wasn't even on the bench.
I don't know.
All right.
Hey, you see Bobby Wood scored for Hamburg, Mike?
Yeah, that was a great goal. I saw Bobby.
It was a nice goal. It really was a nice goal for Bobby Wood against Cologne.
I thought Hamburg got relegated. No, they nearly got relegated.
They played in the relegation game, the playoff against the third.
Oh, really? Oh, in the second division?
No, they played in that. What? Are you being a tool right now?
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're being.
Are you trolling our podcast, dude?
No, I think the third from bottom in the Scottish Premier play the third from top in Division 1.
This is Germany.
I understand that.
No, it's the same thing. Third from bottom Bundesliga plays third from top, and
that's what I just told you.
Hamburg was in the Premier League. I mean, Hamburg was in the top division last year.
Yeah, but they finished third from the bottom.
Welcome to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast, everyone.
We know soccer, so they played in the playoff and they won.
Exactly, they played in the playoff though.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
Bobby
my
was the man, and he played great. And he better start this weekend.
His face was very close to me, and just.
I thought you were being a tool, which you're always being a tool. But moving on.
Christian Pulisic 2-0 win over Hertha Berlin.
Oh, but why? If Dembele's 138 million, Pulisic's got to be 80.
How much?
Bro, I'm not kidding.
How much do you think Pulisic is worth?
This is serious.
Right now,
this is a good conversation.
Right now,
this is a good conversation.
80 to 90 million right now.
80
I
to
swear,
90 million.
80 to 90 million, right? He's 18 years old. And he's, dude, it's not just how nasty he is, it's how he knows he's nasty.
Mike,
he's 18.
Let me put this into perspective for you.
Getting a fucking tattoo.
Right. Let me put this into perspective for you. The new camp holds nearly 100,000 people, right?
Yeah.
I reckon if that's packed out, there would be around 85,000 people in that stadium that had never heard of Christian Pulisic. Would you disagree with me?
That's irrelevant.
Yes, that is true, but that's also the same thing if you go to Fenway Park. It sits 38,000 people, and only 5,000 are going to the new guy that they just signed. Young guy that's going to be a household name in a year or whatever. I think that's just how fandom is.
I think that Pulisic's transfer value might be lowered because he is American, but I think people that watch Bundesliga and know about the European talent, I think Bleacher Report put him, he made the UEFA Young Under-21 Team of the Year. Bleacher Report put him as, I think, the second best Under-21 player in Europe. His value is up there. I don't know. It's hard to put a number on it just because he's American.
It's definitely 50 million, dude.
It's so tough. I don't want to say that and sound like a homer.
Wow.
I don't want to sound like
crazy.
I don't want to sound like a homer American.
I think it's going to be 100. I think after the World Cup next year, it's going to be 150 million.
Come on, dude.
Whoa.
Come on, dude.
No, after the World Cup.
Book that right now.
After the World Cup, let's say he gets like 3 goals and 2 assists in the World Cup, it'll be like 100 million. Right now, a minimum of 50.
Okay,
which I feel like an idiot saying, but
have you seen the group that he's in Champions League? Tottenham and Real Madrid. He's going to have 2 games. He's going to have
it's a good stage.
4 games for him to be. I mean, that's going to boom right there. A couple of goals in those games.
I think he's going to be more exposed now with this Champions League. What a great group that is! Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Tottenham, and who was the other?
Don't care.
Some team from Cyprus.
Applewell and Nicosia.
What a great group! It's going to be great, and Real Madrid coming to Wembley, and Borussia Dortmund coming to Wembley. It's just going to advertise those teams, even though we know a lot about Real Madrid, who surprisingly drew at the weekend 2-2 at home to Valencia. So at the top of the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich have obviously won 2 games, Borussia Dortmund as well 2 games, and I think Hamburg have won 2 games so far. But a somewhat quiet week, gone under the radar for Pulisic in the Bundesliga this week. But that lets us go to the call-up for upcoming international games. Christian Pulisic, amongst others, have been called up. And 2 qualifiers this Friday. Connor and I will be attending the game at Red Bull Stadium.
You guys are going to the game?
Hey.
No, I thought you said you couldn't get tickets.
I got a ticket yesterday. Today, actually.
You got a ticket? Did you pay for the ticket or did you get like a hookup thing?
I got the Outlaws hooked me up.
He manages the bar. He gets hooked up a lot.
Yo, if there's any listeners out there, I have the night free. It would be cool if all 3 of us went together.
Mike,
that'd be pretty cool.
Buy a friggin' ticket, bro.
Just get a ticket.
Yeah, it's like $300 for a ticket now.
Okay.
Dude, just come to the stadium and
we'll take care of it. Third Touch will take care of it.
Do that.
You should come.
All right, we should do it. We should do it. Let's do a pre-show.
At the very least, we should at least piss up, and you can watch the game outside in the bar.
By myself in Harrison, New Jersey. Yeah, thanks. All right.
We will be there though.
Call up. Let's go. USA for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. Costa Rica at home. Vital game, that one. They lost 4-0 in San Jose back in last November, or was it?
They lost.
It was March.
It was November. No, it was November.
So 10 months ago, and an away game in Honduras.
San Juan Suelo.
5:30, by the way.
Good
that
time.
game, but 7:00 kickoff for the home game on Friday night, Labor Day weekend here in the United States of America. Any surprise with the call-ups? You want to read the call-up real quickly?
I mean, do that. Right. There's not any surprises, but I can still read it off. Goalkeepers: Guzan, Howard, Raimondo.
That's the only. I mean, not that it's a surprise. Are you concerned about the goalkeeping situation right now for the national team?
I'm tired of the current group.
It's been those 3.
I don't get
20
I don't
years.
get this. I know you want Horvath or somebody, right, Connor?
I mean, I think that Arena knows what he's doing, and Horvath looks like one for the future. But Sean Johnson,
Isn't Sebastian Fry meant to be getting a citizenship?
I don't know. He's a wacko. I tweeted at the biggest soccer. I tweeted from our account, a Third Touch account, like Stephen Goff. He's like one of the biggest journos in America. Writes for the Washington Post. Something about the goalkeepers this past week, and he like absolutely schooled me, and therefore schooled the Third Touch podcast. I forgot what I said. It was about the goalkeepers. It was about Sean Johnson. Oh, who's his? Bill Hamid from DC United. And I was like, will Sean Johnson ever get a fair run of games? And he's like, he did until Bill Hamid's like displaced him at the Gold Cup. And I was like, oh yeah, I watched all those games. I forgot about that. Dude, it's crazy how journalists just like they're wrong, but they're never ever like actually wrong, and they're always just yeah. But anyway,
no, because I feel like you crashing a little bit that you're done with these keepers is kind of just a vibe I just felt out of nowhere like a couple weeks ago.
With me,
and now it's like not you, just in general, just fans, the USA fans, is that they're kind of done with. They almost want Howard out, and I'm like, dude, Howard, in a USA jersey in a game that matters, Tim Howard, I think, is the best keeper, and I want him there. I don't care if he scores. I don't care if he scores.
Did you see that own goal, his old man leg that we talked about last week? It was crazy. I don't know. I mean, I know. That's what you're looking at. Their team is bottom of the West, right?
Yeah, Colorado's cheese. Yeah.
Are you going to tell me Tim Howard's not going to come? He's going to be in goal.
Brad Guzan's the number one right now.
Guzan
is? Dude.
No, Howard's number one, dude.
Buddy. Timmy's going to start, bro. But look, I would like to see.
Who do you want up top? Because that's the only thing I mean, really, everything else is pretty.
Tranquilo. We'll get there. Tranquilo. Hey.
Well, no, everything's the same in defense.
I mean, Eric Lehigh was called up from the Gold Cup roster.
Any injuries? Let's talk about the injuries.
Jorge Villafana was called up from the Gold Cup roster. Tim Ream was called up for the Gold Cup roster. Matt Hedges made it from the Gold Cup roster. Those are just defenders. Paul Areola, now with the DC United kid on, called up. He was probably going to called up anyway. Roldan was called up, so he made it from the Gold Cup roster. Strikers are all more or less the same. I don't know how friggin' Wondolowski, man.
Why not? On current form, he has every right to be called up.
He has been on form for 10 years, and he has done nothing for the national team. He has been in form.
Well, let's talk about Jordan Murph for a second. We talked about this earlier with the way he played against Portland yesterday. As much as he has the speed, Mike, his finishing has a lot to be desired. He was one-on-one 3 times yesterday, and he was so predictable with his body language. The keeper read the way he was going to shoot about 10 minutes before he actually took the shot.
I think he's got to leave Seattle.
Where's he going to go?
Werder Bremen, bro. Go to Bremen, bro.
He should go someplace. I mean, he could go to Germany, but he should get out of there. Something about when Dempsey is there and Jordan Morse doesn't produce that much.
Is that what's the status on Sebastian Lletget as well?
He's out. I think he just got his cast off from what I've seen via his Instagram.
And also John Brooks and DeAndre Edlin, they're all both injured as well. So
Edlin is close to being back. Brooks will be out for a while.
So actually, yesterday I was painting my stairs and I was listening to this very. Why are you laughing, Mike?
I said it, painting my stairs.
So I was painting my stairs, and when I've been getting the house ready, I've been listening to the BBC podcast, and Jeff Cameron was a guest on the show, and it was very. I was going to text you guys, but my hands were full of.
They comment on his facial hair.
Yeah,
that's next facial.
I mean, he was talking about Stoke City and how playing for Stoke City at the back is way different than playing for the United States in the back. And he's one of the leaders back there. And when he plays for Stoke, he has Shawcross like shouting in his ear. But he says the team is pretty quiet.
What is the USA team?
United States. There's leaders. Bradley's there, but it's not as vocal as he experiences in the Premier League.
It's a different culture overall, but yeah, that's cool.
Well, if you look at the old clips,
you should listen to it. It's still there on the BBC podcast. It's a full hour of Jeff Cameron talking. He was great. He was giving insights to.
So you liked it?
I loved it. Yeah,
he was good.
Yeah, he was really good.
We saw Jeff Cameron played for Rhode Island, bro. We saw his former program tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Boca Negra used to scream and yell all the time. Yeah. Tim Howard yells and screams all the time. Omar Gonzalez never screams and never, and then just
Tim
the last
Howard
two games, I don't know where he
and-
started yelling.
Tim Howard screams and yells.
And he stutters. Oh, we're gonna get
Such a kick out of your Tourette's
banned
joke.
from iTunes. Oh no.
Yeah, I know.
So
And you
Nagby's
draft-
been called up.
Sorry.
Rodon Pulisic is the guy that's been there. Do you think he's going to be tired from these opening games for Dortmund, Pulisic, or he's just going to be, a 19-year-old fresh-legged fella?
No, he's first of all, he's only 18.
I say this every week.
Well, he's 19 like in a couple weeks.
Right.
But no, I think we're gonna have Pulisic is gonna be with Josie. I think it's gonna be Josie and Bobby Wood in front of Pulisic with Nagby on one side and maybe Fabian Johnson on the other. Is that what we're thinking?
Well, for me, I had this written down on my notes here that the biggest thing for me looking forward after a lot of beers in a Harrison, New Jersey bar before the game is what can Fabian Johnson do, because he has following the World Cup, he was our last World Cup, he was our best player, and it has been a steady decline since then, whether it's been injury or form or you name it. He's now back in the roster and he is apparently healthy. Hopefully he's healthy, and I would love to see him play good against Costa Rica and Honduras. I don't know if he'll start though, honestly. Will he start? It's tough to say. But at one time, he was a lock in our lineup and a player that I thought he was the best player. So we'll see.
I think if you ask a lot of people, they'll still say that he's our best pound for pound player.
Pound for pound. You've been watching too many.
So watch the fight this Saturday, bro.
Well, you just want the fight. I know it's unrelated.
You want to talk about the fight?
Let's talk about the fight. People care.
Let's talk
No,
about
I
the
just
fight.
want. Let's just round up this. I mean,
Samson now.
United States in third place in that automatic position right now with 8 points. They are 3 points behind Costa Rica with a 2-goal inferior goal difference, and then Mexico running away with it. Panama are just behind though on 7 points, but Honduras is still there. Is this a must-win game for the United States on Friday, or can they get away? So they have to get a draw and then a win. I mean, if they draw, they have to win in Honduras. If they win against Costa Rica, they can draw in Honduras. Do you think Bruce Arena's looking at it that way in terms of results?
I think you're looking at it like they're gonna come out attacking and to win this Costa Rica game.
Okay.
And then try to win in Honduras.
It's a home game.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Yeah.
This is one of the 4 hardest games of the entire World Cup qualifying cycle. Costa Rica away, Costa Rica home, Mexico away, Mexico at home. This is probably the easiest of those 4. However, it's still a huge game, and this will be for me personally, the biggest, as far as occasion, the biggest soccer game I've been to, and I am ecstatic. I've been to 2 other USA games, but I've been to a Gold Cup game, whatever, but this is like the biggest, and I expect them to go out and hopefully attack and try to win this game. And they have been the best team in the region and United States, and they should continue to strive for that and finish the type of qualifying.
You know what's crazy? These 2 games, what you just said is perfect. They're kind of equal in their difficult and how difficult they are, because Honduras away is probably just as difficult as Costa Rica at home. Because Honduras is not, they
made it's a 3 last team, World Cups they've been there. It's a good. Honduras is a very, very good team with a mix of a few European players and a lot of MLS and other, Mexican league. I'm sure a few Honduran domestic league based, but it's a very, very good team. And yeah, you're right, Mike.
And they have something to prove as well. They were in Costa Rica 10 months ago, and they got turned over 4-0. One of the worst games the United States have played, and that's what hence Jurgen Klinsmann to be fired. So the players are going to be hurt from that. They're going to want to prove something at home in somewhat favorable conditions. It's actually going to be pretty chilly on Friday, actually. Temperatures maybe in the high 40s, low 50s.
Highest 65 for the whole day I saw.
Whoa, really?
So the Costa Ricans are going to be unfamiliar, although a lot of them do play in Europe and have played.
You think it's going to be the Pulisic show?
Huh? Maybe. I don't know.
I'm excited. Mike, you have to come, man. To show up at the stadium.
He needs to do something for the national team.
Mike, you have to come, though. We'll figure it out.
Hey, wait.
Yeah, Pulisic. It's gonna be. We're coming. I will be there. I guess I'll just hang out in the parking lot. And drink.
We'll get you a ticket. We'll figure it out.
So Joel Campbell, I believe he's in the squad. He said he's reluctant to go on loan for the 6th time from Arsenal. He is in the squad. He did turn over USA. He is at Sporting Lisbon, I believe.
He was on loan there last.
So he's still there. And he's looking like he's going to be there this season as Connor spills some beer. But predictions for Friday. Let's just give a couple of predictions. For the 2 games, Friday and Wednesday.
I'm going to say... Dude, I'm sorry I spoke to you on your moccasin, bro. I'm a bad friend. 2-1 Friday night. And then...
To USA?
I'm going to say 2-1 both games, honestly. 2-1 Friday night to USA, and then 2-1 against Honduras in favor of our beloved crumbling nation.
I think that Bruce has shown that in these games, the back four, he gets it organized. He gets Bradley. He gets Callan Acosta organized in front of him. Howard, I think it's a shutout. I think it's 3-0 USA.
Right. Well, that's big.
And then you go to Honduras, I think it's going to be like a 1-1 draw. I think we'll have a little bit of a letdown. And
can I say one thing? Just the hex it looks like it's going to change depending on future World Cup qualifying situations. The hex is the best qualifying setup there is in World Cup qualifying as compared to Europe or other countries. It is awesome, yo. It really is the best setup where you get 3 teams make it, or four teams can qualify. Only 2 teams don't, but like it is like every game is sick. Points matter.
Because everybody has a shot.
Yeah, it's great, dude. I really like the hex setup, and I'm gonna miss it when CONMEBOL and CONCACAF.
Yeah, pour out some more beer for the hex.
I'll spill some more beer on Sam's carpet.
But I'm looking for the game. Looking forward to the game. This is the first time I'm going to see the United States.
What are you expecting from a USA game? Have you ever been to an England game?
Yeah, I've been to a few England games. I've seen Paul Gascoigne play for England.
So what are you expecting? Because
I refused to go to England games for a long time. I thought it was pretty boring, to be honest.
Well, USA games.
I only really remember. I mean, a lot of the tournaments, but leading up to them, Euro qualifyings aren't that good. And then when England play in these friendlies in between the qualifying, there's nothing to cheer for. It's just going to a friendly game. It's just, you can't feel that passionate about it. Although,
so as a somewhat neutral who is an American citizen who's still a neutral, like I'm just curious.
I have connections with Costa Rica, which is it's not the hard part. I mean, I'm gonna hope that both countries do.
Actually, I met a Costa Rican girl last night, so I got connections with them. USA has already won. You know what I mean?
I have a Pura Vida tattoo on my arm, but I'm gonna say something inappropriate here, so I'm just gonna just stop. But no, I hopefully USA do win the game. I want them to win the game so they can secure the World Cup berth. I believe Mexico and Costa Rica are already there. When Costa Rica play at home, they look unbeatable. But yeah, I do hope USA win this Friday. I'm going to. I think it'll be a great atmosphere, great stadium, I've heard. And I'll be with the Outlaws. So I'm looking to it.
I've been to a USA game there. I saw USA versus Turkey there in the World Cup 2014.
In the World Cup.
With the warm-up games.
Yeah, that game was in Philadelphia, though.
No, this was it was in Harrison.
You sure? I mean, I'm not
Turkey,
gonna.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, he was there.
Yeah, it was Turkey. I've seen him do 2 games: Turkey and Czech Republic.
Didn't you see an Ecuador game as well?
Yeah, I saw them play Ecuador as well.
Where was that?
I was on a trip. I was down in Carolina doing stuff, and I was on the way back, and I just happened to be driving by when the game was going on, and I just pulled over. That was the Meadowlands. I went saw at the Meadowlands. But anyway, this USA, the atmosphere there, it's going to be sold out. It's actually it's a great time.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yo, shout out to US Soccer for scheduling a game in a soccer stadium and not a football stadium for a tournament that no one cares about, like the Gold Cup. So it should be a really good. I'm psyched.
All right, so so we'll be looking forward to that. England, international break this weekend. England, a few surprise call-ups, but we won't dive into that. We'll just touch on fantasy football, the Third Touch Fantasy Football. You can still sign up for our league through PremierLeague.com. If you have a team, we have... Where is everyone this week? I have dropped from 5th to 7th, even though I did get 55 points. Michael McLaughlin, you dropped as well to 12th.
Oh, fuck.
You dropped. You got, how many did you get?
Yeah, I had a shit week. Lukaku.
35. Yeah, I had Lukaku as captain as well. And Klinsmann out, Connor Walsh had 40 points. I had 55 and I went down. But a lot of guys at the top got a shit ton of points. CJ Tremel went from 1st to 2nd. Brian Norton,
all the Liverpool fans.
This dude Brian had 80 points this week, man.
That's a lot of goals. I'm going to check out his team right now. Okay. He had a bunch of Liverpool players. Mane as captain, Salah, Firmino, Gabriel Jesus, Ali, Pogba, Willian, Norton as well. That was the big one for Swansea.
Jeff Cameron.
And Jeff Cameron. So he's on top of the Bars League and the Third Touch Official League. So shout out to Brian Norton.
He's actually 228th in NBC is pretty impressive as well.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, dude. 228th in NBC is very... Dude, 227th in the whole United States.
227. Shout out to Brian. We should just give him the...
Do I know Brian?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Love you, Brian. No. Thanks for joining.
But, all right, let's go down. CJ Tremel in 2nd place with... he only got 35 points this week, 175 overall. Nick Merrican, Gasbaggers, 57 points this week, 170. He's gone up. Place a Not Selling Club, Jonathan Sorshell is 72, not too sure he is, 169.
Baby G, Bandito Juniors. Bandito Junior.
That's Baby G. Clint Falcon, Bandito Jr., 77 points this week. And Chad Binney went down from, I think, 4th or 5th to 6th with 36 points. But, like a big week. Obviously, let's have a look. Bailly's just, clocking up points for Manchester United. The Liverpool team, Firmino is a great buy for a striker at... Where is he? I did a bit of research. Firmino, 8.6 million seems like a great pickup. I have Neon for West Brom, 5 million. Bailly as well, 6.1 million. Looks like they're good picks for the upcoming weeks. Dream team this week. Fabregas was in there, got a goal for Chelsea. The crisis is over after the first week to spare. Firmino, Morata as well, Ali, and all that nonsense. I know you're getting bored there, Mike.
I love it.
You like the fantasy?
I do like the fantasy. I do, yeah.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. But Brian Norton up there on top. So keep making transfers. You get 2 free transfers a week. So Friday, just remember when you wake up.
I promise you I won't transfer a single player from now until May, yo. My squad is my squad, and I'll stick with them forever.
In the draft, I have Virgil van Dijk, who hasn't kicked a ball since May.
I think that's the thing about soccer fantasy. Since you can transfer, it's more like trading stocks. Like you're trying to get the guys that are the hottest for 5 weeks, and then drop them, pick somebody else up. You know.
Right.
I just don't care enough to play the transfer stock market of soccer.
Talking about stocks, you should buy some Wish stocks, which sponsored the fight, actually. I've been talking to Connor about it. You buy a ton of shit from China. We're going to talk about the fight, right? We're going to
finish up with the fight. Why not? We're done.
Fighting around the world with Russell Crowe.
Yo, by the way, I hate Conor McGregor, man. I liked him up until this fight, but he sold a bunch of dreams to a bunch of idiot Irish people. I'm an Irishman myself.
Did you buy? Did you think he was going to win?
No, of course not, dude. Absolutely, of course not. Anyone who's ever watched a single... Dude, oh my God. Dude, my friends that are just UFC guys who have literally never watched a single boxing match in their life. I've watched Mayweather's last 5 title fights. I'm not an expert, but I've watched him fight.
Everyone's an expert when Mayweather fights. Everyone just seems to know everything about him. It's like, well, what?
But listen, he did what he has done his entire career, and my boys were jumping up and down and yelling 2 rounds in when McGregor lands 2 punches. I'm like, yo, Mayweather isn't phased right now. He is chilling. and by 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds, it was an absolute it was honestly a boxing masterclass from the best boxer ever, and well, it honestly was a very respectable display.
Another expert of Mayweather here right now.
I agree. We had about like 15 guys over here. We played poker. We had the fight.
Guys.
It was just a lot of dudes, just a lot of energy, male energy, And it was actually a blast. We had a great time, but we were all talking. We had shout out to a couple people. Dave Shine was here. He's a comic, but he's also he's a wrestler and everything and a fighter. And he was saying none of us thought McGregor had a shot, but after all once that Irish national anthem happened, then I kind of get into it. I kind of wanted McGregor to win. I was like, oh yeah, but then dude, his punches were so weak. Yeah. I don't even in the beginning when he caught a couple, if he caught him clean and it didn't even phase him. It was like I was like, oh, this is. What's it? I mean,
they were lighter gloves as well, right?
Yeah, normally 12 ounces, and they wore 8-ounce gloves, and UFC gloves are usually 4 ounces, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Conor's faces are too big of a target.
Dude, his form was honestly his boxing form was honestly embarrassing. Like,
well, he was a boxer. Okay. Well, he's never fought professional boxing. I mean, I think he did okay.
But his form was pathetic.
Did okay. I don't think it was pathetic. I thought
he
was
okay. Stood, bro. I'd rock his chin, bro. Give me one shot at the champ. At the notorious MMA.
Would you rather be in a ring against Mayweather or Conor Walsh?
Conor Walsh.
Conor McGregor.
Oh, in a ring? Oh, neither. I mean, in a boxing ring?
No, if you're in a ring, you had a choice to be in a boxing ring with Mayweather or in a UFC hexagon. It's called, right?
Yeah, hexagon. McGregor.
You would rather be in a hexagon with McGregor?
Yeah, I'd rather be with Mayweather. McGregor's 18-3. He's lost 3 fights.
I feel like the intensity.
I'm not thinking about winning. I'm thinking about like not getting my head gashed. I just want to be
you
like.
See McGregor's
I just want to get the fight
after...
stopped like in this first round.
Dude, I don't think
the thing is, I would hate to get in the ring in the hexagon because they'll knock you out and keep punching you after you're knocked out.
Who cares? You're already toast.
That sounds horrible. Yeah, at least in boxing, they called the fight. It could have got really bad. I didn't think they called it that early. I think they protected Conor McGregor, but you just get knocked out, and that's it. But
that's kind of what they say with UFC. They say actually because once you get knocked out, they stop it. Therefore, there's not as much.
Don't stop it. It takes
that's what they
5
say.
seconds to stop.
There's not as much.
I was getting so mad at McGregor for hitting the back of Mayweather's head with those like downward side punches. Like, dude, you agreed to a boxing fight, box. And stop doing
He's like doing like knock jokes on his forehead. Dude, it was like
boxing's for pussies. Like, bro, this is a boxing match. Box. Don't do.
What's cool? That was cool to watch UFC guys. Like, oh wow, he hit him on the chin every time. Like Mayweather hit him on the chin, like 15 straight punches, and like the UFC guys were like, why is he so good? Fucking bullshit. Shoot on that dude.
That was enjoyable, though. For what it was obviously a money-grabbing spectacle, but all things considered, it was well worth my $100.
It was definitely.
It was great, man. It was really was.
Dude, afterwards, we were all outside. We're all like pretend fighting and shit. Yeah, it was great.
Did you win? Mike, did you win?
I won all my pretend fights. We it's like me versus my one roommate, versus my other roommate, and I won them all in the fictitious.
Well, hopefully the United States wins the real fight. I
did duck one person that I knew I would lose against. Yeah, I know Matt. He's talking to me right now, but I'm like Mayweather. I choose my opponents wisely.
You're a tactician.
All right, but yeah, hopefully the USA win the fight against Costa Rica and Honduras.
Dude, what a transition, dude. You're a great host, dude. You know how to transition.
But yeah, thank you everyone. Congratulations to Brian Norton for topping the fantasy and 227th in the whole of the United States. But thank you for tuning in, guys. Yep. Keep downloading, tweeting us at The Third Touch. We are now on Instagram. We will get that set up. There's a couple of photos, I think, that we're going to upload.
We look hot.
Yo, somebody send me a ticket. Mike G. McLaughlin at Instagram.
Bro,
I need
you
a
gotta
ticket
meet
to
us
the game Friday. I will. I'll come. I'll scalp a ticket.
I think 6:30 kickoff, right? Or 7 o'clock?
I think it's 7 o'clock.
Covers will start at 6:30. It'll be like a 7:10 kickoff. We'll be pissing up in a bar by like 2 o'clock.
England playing Malta this weekend. Big game. But without Wayne Rooney. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. Tweet us, subscribe, rate, review, all that jazz. But thanks for tuning in. And go Chris Wondolowski.
Wando.
Didn't you want to do the world. Wonderful life? The Wando.
Oh, Wando, wonderful world? I don't know. I texted it out. I was like,
Wondolowski. But anyway, yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. Take it easy. Bye.
This episode was sponsored by